I'll talk, and then you'll talk, and then we'll talk.
All right, sounds good. Welcome back to Cinema Drinking Buddies. My name is Gio. This is Matt, and we like to talk about movies and drink. Today we're drinking Front Porch, and we're also reviewing the movie Bill and Ted Bogus Journey.
It's gonna be bogus.
Yep. So what'd you think about the movie?
It's pretty bogus, man.
Bogus.
Well, obviously, when you watch a sequel, you always compare it to the original.
Yeah.
I feel like compared to the original, it didn't quite measure up. I mean, it was still good. I feel like the movie ended strong, but kind of the stuff leading up to it, it was just kind of like, it was almost too trippy for me. Like the stuff that happened, like the evil robot Bill and Ted, and them dying, and playing Battleship with the Grim Reaper, and like it was
Twister.
Yeah, like it was just kind of like really, like, because the last one was just like pure time travel, and this one kind of got into like supernatural stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That stuff is fine, but I guess it just, after watching the first one, this second one getting into this stuff was just kind of strange for me. Mm-hmm. I still liked it, but if I have a choice to watch either one of them, I want to watch the first one.
Yeah.
I like the Grim Reaper's character though.
Yeah, he was a fun character. For me, it felt completely different from the first movie,
mm-hmm.
which was, I think, made both movies almost standalone.
Yeah.
I mean, if you watch the second one, then you'll think that's the first one. If you watch the first one, you'll think that's the first one.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not really, you don't see that sequel. The only part you see the sequel is with Missy, which was Bill's mom, or non-mom this time, and then the two princesses.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing that is a little bit, that would be different. But outside that, them getting, and of course, spoilers, them getting killed and meeting the Grim Reaper, who seems like a lower character. Just seems like he tries to be menacing, but he's just not.
He's a fun guy.
Tried playing video games so they can go back to Earth, but kept losing, kept saying best of 5, best of 7.
Yeah.
And so then you had the what were they named? The two
Station?
Yeah, Station.
Yeah.
Which are like two very, very smart creatures
mm-hmm.
that are not from this planet, of course. And then the way they combine to make into a bigger one.
To make the Super Station.
Yeah. Outside of that, I still enjoy the movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's still very fun. The Grim Reaper made it that much better. Bill and Ted were Bill and Ted in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very oblivious to everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I felt like this movie may have been a little bit less family friendly than the first one, because the first one is almost family friendly.
Yeah.
But this one not so much, because in this one, like I thought I heard a curse word. They were shooting each other the finger.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this one was a little bit more almost directed toward an older audience than the first one. Maybe it's just because they're older now and out of high school and basically adults now.
Yeah.
But it had a different tone to it.
But it's that PG-13 rating to use.
Yeah, it really did. Going to hell and meeting the devil,
mm-hmm.
like that's kind of
it's just a little bit over that that line there.
Yeah. So it had a completely different tone from the first one, which I understand trying to not make the same movie twice, but I feel like there still needs to be some consistency there. And like you said, these two could have been completely standalone movies with each other, and it just, like, not until you got to the end when they were there in front of the crowd,
mm-hmm.
With everyone that they had met along their journey, did it actually feel like, okay, this movie does go with the last one that we watched.
Yeah. So basically, what kind of started this whole thing was one of the guys. I think it's the guy from Speed, the bad guy from Speed.
Was that him? Chuck Denomalos.
I'm not sure his acting name, but
that was his name in the movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So he comes in, he's gonna try to ruin everything. He creates these two Bill and Ted made out of cyborgs to go back in time to kill Bill and Ted, so they can just basically ruin the whole music saving world thing that they did. I guess that's the same part from the first movie is the music.
Yeah. Well, see, this one, like, the first one was someone going back in time to help Bill and Ted. This one was someone going back in time to stop them.
Yeah.
So,
kind of like Terminator.
A little bit.
So, and the way that I don't know if it's CGI or practical when they're like taking off their heads to show the cyborgness.
I don't think that was CGI. But yeah, it was weird. And then, like I was saying, it wasn't until the very end that I felt like, okay, we kind of got the same feeling from the first one, where Denumalo shows up during their show, and he's like, going to shoot them, but then they say, oh, well, we'll just go into the future and do this, and then he shows up in the cage, and then he goes into the future and to get out of the cage.
And then they're like, oh, no, but we knew you were going to do that, so what we did, we gave you that key.
That's why I said I feel like the movie ended strong. It's just that going up, like everything leading up to it was just kind of like, I don't know, it was just a little bit too much for me. The scene I did find funny was when they went to the police station and basically possessed his dad and that other guy.
Yeah.
And his dad starts talking like them.
I totally possessed my dad. Okay.
Like, dudes, my son, my son got killed, man. And, by an evil robot clone of him.
When they first died and they went to that seance that Missy was having. And then they were trying to tell him that, yeah, your son is dead. And then they're like, oh my gosh. And so they're like, it's like, I don't think this is good, guys. Yeah, and then they got sent to hell.
And then she actually sends them to hell. Yeah. And then they're in their own personal hell with that colonel from the Alaskan military school.
Yeah. And then they had its rendition of hell was pretty good, actually. How they, one of them went with his grandma, I believe it was, right? And then the other one with the military.
And then the rabbit.
Oh, and then the rabbit.
Yeah. Like, I guess the Grim Reaper, he's like left his job as being the Grim Reaper, and he's just going to be with them in the band now.
Yeah.
And Station and the princesses.
Oh, and then they went to heaven, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they went to heaven.
And then they stole clothes. But they just put the clothes over their own clothes, which makes no sense.
I don't know why they had to steal clothes. Like, were their clothes not acceptable? Like, to get into heaven, apparently?
And it seemed like they didn't care at all. Like, the guy that was like checking was like,
right? It's like, I mean, we saw you do that. They weren't subtle about it at all. But no, I really did like the Grim Reaper, like that character in this movie. And then we got to talk about Missy.
Yeah,
like she divorces Bill's dad.
Bill's dad, but yet Bill's still calling her mom. It's like, hey Missy, I mean mom, and then we're like, but then she starts kissing Ted's dad, and it's like, oh, I can't believe she divorced her mom and married mine. He goes, shut up, Ted.
Like, because when that scene came up and she started kissing him, I was like, wait a minute, wasn't she married to Bill's dad before? Or is that Bill's dad? And then when he said that, I was like, oh, okay.
And it shows Bill's dad just watching him. I was like, oh, that's so sad.
And then at the end of the movie, during the credits, when they're showing all the headlines, and it shows that Missy marries Chuck DeNomolos. And I think she's going to be in the new one too.
She is? Oh, well,
I think she is.
There's that new trailer, so,
or at least her character. Yeah, we haven't watched the new trailer yet.
Yeah.
But I think at least her character is going to be in it. I don't know. We'll wait and we'll see who she's married to in that one. But I love the robots that Station built.
Yeah. Oh, where the evil Bill and Ted were like, oh, I guess we have a
Met our
yeah, and they easily get taken out.
Yeah. Like, there was no fight at all. And I don't know why, but I guess I was expecting those robots to actually look like the evil Bill and Ted robots, like very lifelike.
But they just look like regular robots.
Yeah, they just went to Home Depot or something and just bought a bunch of parts.
And then the Superstation basically created everything like really quickly by himself.
I think the Grim Reaper helped him. Grim Reaper was his assistant
Oh.
or something. I don't know. That movie was pretty trippy. And then, of course, it ends with they're at the Battle of the Bands. Oh, and I gotta say, throwing Primus in there, I thought that was awesome.
So many puppies, be shot in the dark. So many puppies.
Because, like, that band was playing, I was like, that sounds a lot like Primus. Like, is that Primus? Like, are they... And then she introduces them as Primus. I was like, it's Primus! Then at the end, when they, like, say, oh, man, we got to get good. So they go into the future and get good and come back.
Yeah.
And they have kids.
They
And
have a beer.
ZZ Top
and
beer.
Yeah.
And then, like, all of a sudden, they're, like, amazing.
Yeah.
And broadcasted for the whole world to see. It showed, like, all the...
Little Ted and Little Bill.
Yeah. And then, you know, of course, at the end, we finally see in this movie where they basically achieve the fame that was hinted at in the first movie.
Yeah.
With all those, like, headlines that showed up where they're playing Wembley Stadium, the Grand Canyon, Mars, even the Grim Reaper, like, becomes, like, popular.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed the movie, just not as much as I enjoyed The Excellent Adventure.
I enjoyed both of them.
Yeah.
I can't say that I can't say that I enjoy one more than the other for this one, because it's kind of funny because I remember the name Bogus Journey, but I remember more scenes from the first movie.
Yeah.
So I kind of, like, in my head, like, combined them two, because I remember the Green Reaper clearly. I remember, like, very clearly. I remember him.
See, I'd never seen Bogus Journey because I know I would have remembered the Grim Reaper if I'd seen it.
So I remember the Green Reaper, but for some reason I remember all the scenes from the first movie with them time traveling, and I thought that was in the, like, some parts were in the second movie.
Yeah.
But
Well, they didn't time. Well, I was gonna say they didn't time travel in the second movie, but they did, like, at the very, very end.
yeah,
Basically, in this movie, we got to see them achieve the fame that they, you know, were supposed to from the first one, and actually get good at being a band.
yep, and have a family like they're all told to.
Yep. Well, that was our review and discussion of Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. Let us know what you thought down in the comments. Leave a comment down below if there was a scene that we didn't talk about, or if you had a different opinion from us. Let us know down in the comments. We'll have a little discussion down there. If you haven't already, please subscribe. We're still kind of getting, you know, our channel up off the ground.
Yep.
So every subscribe helps, every like helps. So please leave a like down below if you enjoyed the video. And until then, we will see you next time. And stick around so you can see how to make the front porch. Bye.
Bye.
So in this video, we were drinking a drink called the Front Porch, which is actually a Rebecca Creek Distillery exclusive recipe. So it does use Rebecca Creek whiskey. So we have 2 ounces of Rebecca Creek whiskey in this drink, 2 ounces of sweet tea. It doesn't really matter which one you use. I like to use Arizona. And an ounce of lemonade. Throw a couple of mint leaves in there for a garnish, and you've got your Front Porch.